used to live on a beach in Thailand, which I stumbled across by accident or coincidence, and it was the most magical place in the world. I set foot on it on the beach and I knew that it was home. And the longer I spent there, I spent 6.5 years there now, and the reason why it was so amazing was because people just lived together in harmony there. Anybody could come and live there, and people that wouldn't fit in just didn't come and live there. And from time to time they would organize something. They would organize drumming or goddess days or healing afternoons or singing or chanting or anything that pole dancing, anything that anybody could ever think of, people would come and teach. But normally people would bring some tea or some cake or something like that and really show appreciation. And everybody would clean up together afterwards, and then everybody would go home. People would go and dress up and make costumes out of coat hangers and coconut leaves, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was so free. People would come there and they could just be themselves. They didn't have to have any rules. It was bamboo huts with straw roofs, no electricity. We had candles. We would wake up at 5:30 in the morning and go and swim. And then slowly, people were starting to come to the beach that wanted electricity. So we started to get generators, and we're getting noise, and we're getting pollution. And then the electricity between 3 hours in the evening wasn't enough. People wanted to start to get electricity during the day. So people started to get electricity during the day. So there were bigger generators, they were making more noise, and suddenly there was light everywhere at night. You couldn't see the stars anymore because there was light everywhere. And because we now had electricity, people that had computers and mobile phones were suddenly starting to come. So you said people with computers everywhere. And then the people with their mobile phones were complaining that they had electricity, but they couldn't get a signal. So after a year, we had a big fat mobile phone pole put up. So now you're sitting in a restaurant with the generators blaring and phones ringing and people with headphones playing on computers. And it doesn't attract the people anymore that want to live in straw huts. So now people come with buckets full with Sangsam whiskey and Red Bull, and they drink all day, and they're rowdy and they're noisy and they treat the Thais badly. We used to be friends. People don't understand that they can drink the filtered water straight out of the river. They want the plastic bottles. And we have so much rubbish everywhere now. People come to the beach and sit on the beach and just leave all their crap lying around everywhere and don't understand that, you know, there are no rubbish people, there are no dustmen. It's us that clean it up. And the beach it's destroyed. And now the Thais are sad, because now the Thais are having to deal with angry people every day. And instead of, you know, sitting around in their own living room feeding us and sitting with us and cooking with us, because, you know, sometimes we would cook, they've now become slaves.
Now, the formula is simple. For each action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Cultures do collide between each other, but as long as the ultimate goal of man is the lust after power, then that collision is unjust. And the European culture is the most savage, brutal, and merciless of all. We can't imagine, for example, that the Africans would venture out of the continent to conquer the world as Europeans do. We can't imagine as well that the First and the Second World War were launched in Peru or Bolivia or Ecuador. That can only take place in Europe. You would claim that the collision of cultures is an unavoidable process and cannot be prevented. And I agree. What I don't agree on is the mechanism of that collision, the forces that stand behind it, the plots and treachery of greedy men in their hectic pursuit after power against innocent and simple people, driving an entire nation to slave after the sick products and corrupted ideology, all under the false nation of civilization, modernization. And here, we should stop and define the word civilization.
There must have been a time when Thailand was truly a magical place to live in, where images from Anna the King were not far from what once might took place, with all its mystery, authenticity and enigma. A time when plots and political treachery were endowed only by monarchs and lords and held far away within the thick walls of palaces and forts. A time when simple people were left alone to merge in their own way with nature, colors, weaving to the sounds of dusk and dancing along the threads of moon rays. A time when magic embraced the simple minds of simple people and led them to extract and weave their own identity, which led thread upon a thread to create the textile of their culture and define the sharp borders of their Thai nation. I stand mesmerized at the supremacy of those primitive designs, the beauty of their colors, and most of all, the faith that is embroidered with each image and at the path of each needle and thread. These are not shirts and trousers, but symbols of adherence to innate powers, dyes and colors, patterns to elevate the spirit of the Thai nation. What are clothes after all, if not a reflection, true and honest, to our human strength and honor? A nation that took 1,000 years to erect had vanished and disappeared in no longer than 30 years, and all under the title of civilization and development, while true leadership and spiritual guidance had disappeared completely, and only idiots and wimps are left to lead this cattle once again to the stables of the West with its tasteless colors and worthless designs, to be bled to the last drop of their frenzy to imitate and their blind lust after confirmation. And I wonder, what a stupid idiot like this is doing on my screen, and who are those stupid so-called photographers doing with such fine equipment that were designed to touch the hand of God and not, definitely not, his asshole. Now, you no longer need to go to a temple or visit a monk